hello everybody. It is me, David. How's everybody doing? Welcome to a Tuesday afternoon, I think it's Tuesday, at 3 live stream. Little different time. Reason for that is, well, both Greg and I are on holidays. Greg's further off the grid than I'm going, but I am only back today, and yeah, we're tomorrow I'll be far gone out of cell service and all that lovely stuff at the secret campsite location that you all saw last year. So yeah, we had some craziness last night, but so today one announcement was summer's here, and we'll just talk about that for a second. You've been off since June, Vince. That's a bit. Was it a planned vacation, or was it restriction imposed? I guess you'd call it. But so for the summer here, as most of you know, Greg and I both are away. We camp at different locations, and Greg's location is not reliable for any sort of streaming and stuff like that right now. And over where I am, it's the same thing actually. Cell service is gone, and we don't pay for like Starlink or any mobile country rural service. We both have home service, so the internet gets pretty bad. So first point, we probably won't be live streaming again, at least till I get back, and that's the week of the 19th, I do believe. Bring up a little calendar here. So there won't be another live stream or video, for that matter, until sometime in the week of July 19th there. So just throwing that out there. I'm just gonna really quickly, gotta do this. If you guys have popped over to patreon.com/3dmakeit and supported us on there, you are amazing. Helge, thanks for being a tree supporter. Everybody on that list, Vince included, because you're here. I see your name, so I'm going to say it today, Vince. But thank you all for supporting us, and be ready for the completed series of the oh man, I can't even remember what Greg's been like, the Voron. So that's going to be coming up. I'm almost catching up on parts now. So hopefully by the time Greg's done vacation, all the parts will be printed and we can build that thing. The other stuff that has come is we've got all those boards in now. So the Spider, the Octopus 1.1. So expect some videos either from Greg or myself on configuring some of those. Vince, it is not anymore hot down here. I mean, it's warm. It's like 27, we'll call it that way. So with that break in heat, we haven't peaked 30 for 4 days, but with the heat there was a giant storm and partly the storm affected some trailers and stuff out of the campsite. Some water vents got broken, all that kind of stuff. It was hail and lots of wind, and yeah, it was good times. Gary, how you doing? Nice to see you digitally anyway. I mean, it's kind of weird seeing people's faces now too in Alberta. They lifted all at once at the same time all the COVID restrictions. Oh, are you coming to Street Wheelers? Nice. Yeah, we have a big car show. It's called Street Wheelers. I think I'm going to be around Saturday, perhaps, for that. My wife we were thinking about it. If we are, I'll shoot a message in Discord. All the patios and stuffs are open. Yeah, Alberta. Either it's a good idea or a bad idea. We'll find out. And then I think the Stampede, isn't that this weekend in Calgary? Isn't that the start? But anywho, Now there was a few topics other than summer time, so yeah, don't expect anything for the next 2 weeks. So we'll be on Discord here and there on our phones, but one of the bigger things to happen to the community recently, and there's been a lot of chatter about it, and I feel it needs some explanation. We kind of really basically touched on it. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember your spider went kablooers. What happened to it? Do you know? Was it like a bad trace on the board or like inverted power? But I doubt that would be it. So recently, and we're going to open it up here in a second too, but recently Cura came out with 4.1, which I made the joke last week it should be 5, which it should be. But Cura 4.1 has gone a direction and started to move into a more corporate development, and there's tiers and stuff. I found them last week, but basically they didn't get rid of the free version, and there's been a lot of like chatter on, oh, the free version won't do this or it doesn't do that, or oh, if they get rid of this, well, hey. So what I've done is I've actually installed Cura 4.1. Fine, I'll say it, 4.10, which is weird because we already had 4. Anyway, so basically 4.10. This is literally the start screen here. So this is kind of what it looks like. Now the overall feel of it hasn't changed. What's new? This is new. So you can import CAD right into Cura now. So you don't have to bounce to a low poly STL. You can just bring it straight in now. The CAD parts can be imported, and you can layer them and lock them and arrange them, which is cool. However, if you read here, Ultimate Cura professional subscribers. So this is one feature that's going to be out of reach now. So it's one of those things that they've added as as value into their software, which is great. Good for them. If you use a lot of CAD and you don't want to export your STL, you might want to pop over to Cura and just look and see what exactly their pricing model is, and we can probably find. I'm gonna see if I can't find it right here, but let's copy this. Boom. So this is one new feature, and they have a professional, and they also have like an enterprise, I do believe. So what is it? The subscription tier, the professional for one printer is $600 a year, I think it said. 1 second. Let's see if I can find it and pull it up for us. There it is. Okay, here we go. Boom. So just so we can kind of see, here's a comparison for us. So at the professional level for one printer, it's $600 US a year. So in Canada, I don't know, like 800 Canadian, maybe a little less now. And then basically when you add printers, you go up. And you can see here when you get into fleet management above 20, you have to get quoted because there might be discounts like most vendors do when you buy a lot. But this is kind of what the breakdown looks like. The interesting thing to me is the fact that like the levels, like you go 6, 18, and 16, or 6,000, sorry, here. The actual service level of that, like, okay, I'm just curious. I'm going to pull this off and bring it back because my YouTube chat in the other screen, and I want to see the answer. How many of you would fall into the $6,000 tier? So we're home users, right? So most of us are like hobbyists or home users or very low manufacturing users, right? We don't churn out the parts for a lot of things. And yeah, 6 printers is it's like $1,000 a printer to license professional. Now professional gets you use in the cloud, print servers and stuff like that. So Vince says worked for a benchy. Next morning, turned on the printer, magic smell. It almost sounds like it burnt through the traces on the Oh man, the mains power, it just kind of shorted and cooked, which unfortunately could happen. Yeah. If so, yeah, I'm just curious, like how many of us would fall into the 6,000? Like, if you were to actually, like, not that we would do it, but and then you can see the ultimate Ultimaker Excellence comes at the 12,000, and if you're curious as to what you get for that, it's all listed on their webpage, ultimaker.com/software, enterprise software. So it's important to note though that through all of this, these are the enterprise versions of the software. You can get a trial. So there's a trial available for 30 days, month. And then the other thing that they have not got rid of, wow, I speak English good some days. But the one thing that they haven't got rid of, wow, why do I keep saying that wrong? Anyway, is this essential. It looks like the essential one is actually their free one. And if you're like me, you have an essential account already. When 4.2 came out, they released with the account for their essential, and I signed up. So if you go back to, we're just going to go ultimaker.com/software here, and if you scroll down a little tiny bit, there's lots of getting started, download the PDFs, right? But you can see here that the workflow has changed a bit for them. Like they have enterprise software plans right at the top, right? So that's not to say when you go to Cura, Ultimaker Cura, there's this free version still. So you just have to be aware that some of the features that are being released now in the mainstream would be locked to you as a hobbyist. So that's just one thing to be aware of. The other thing is it installs like every other Cura on the planet, and I really wish that they would migrate printer profiles in the installer, but they don't. So I always end up having to move a few printers because I haven't committed it to their GitHub. Now there's other, so they have this like Printing Academy expert tips and stuff that's built in now. It looks like so they got more profiles. So this is literally like right off the install for Cura, and you can see like it's not unlike other Cura updates. They add a few more profiles for the materials. Maybe they fix a few printer profiles. The only one that they've really locked is that CAD one so far, and you can see here that flow rate has changed. So you can now change the volumetric flow rate in preview mode to see exactly what you're going to get, which is sweet. Prusa Slicer did that 2 dots ago, I think it was. So that's kind of sweet. The paid version, so the paid version would be useful if you were like if you were an actual enterprise level manufacturing firm. I think that's where the benefit to the enterprise and the professional ones would come in, and then paying for them, because you do get if we pop back here, there are features inside of the software here that do, obviously you can see everybody gets slicing, hooray. CAD files, okay, so we don't get CAD files. Oh well, I guess we can export to STL still. But yeah, user access management for the printer, shared projects is a big one in a corporate environment. So a lot of the features that are like being left out were never in. Like, so we're not missing stuff like OAuth authentication. I don't think anybody would use OAuth. Like maybe Greg and I would do it just because it would be funny. And I don't think any viewers that we have, and that, maybe that's wrong, maybe I'll eat my words here, but I don't think any of us have federated SSO. I'm not sure. Do any of, here's a question for you. How many people know what federated SSO means? It's just a thought. How many people kind of know what that is? So if you know, give me a thumbs up. But anyway, federated SSO. So lots of the features that are being locked out behind a pay gate are not actually things that we would miss, right? I can't see one feature that we would actually need access to as a home user that we would be missing. Now, that's not to say that might not change, but I am very glad and grateful to see that even though Cura has gone this route, they are keeping the community method open, and the development is still, relatively straightforward, shall we say? Like you could still submit to the GitHub and get your printer or get your profile in. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, if you don't know what I mean by profiles, let me show you quick. So when I install a new version of Cura, so let's get up our Cura. We're going to click next, and ooh, what's new? Want more from 4.10? You can read blog posts. No thanks, we're good. So there's just like the bug list and fix list that they did, but the biggest thing is what we just talked about, the separation of features and the actual paid switch. The other thing that's probably a bonus for most of us is probably these two statements right here. Allow position parameter for filament change. Yay! You can do it. Hey Ben, I was just thinking of you. I hope you're doing okay. Hey Ronan, how are you doing? Okay. Anyway, so when I load Cura, this is what it looks like. And you can see underneath that I have some configuration errors. I have a predator missing, a Mama robot missing, and an Anycubic predator missing. So basically I'm missing everything twice here, and then it's okay. So if I were to drop down, any of the printers that have a standard profile from 4.0 and up is going to be okay. Now, some of these printers, like the Anycubic predator, it was added in Cura. Now somebody put that in, and I wouldn't have to transfer it, but I'm gonna move them over anyway because I like my profiles on those ones. Yeah, Ben. I hope you feel better soon, and I hope you went and got yourself a test just to make sure. So to fix this issue, it's fairly straightforward. So if you've downloaded any of these profiles from our site, which they are available at www.3dmakeit.com, as well as all of our socials. So I'm just going to really quickly show you here. If you go into C and then program files on your computer, you can scroll down and you can see where the Ultimaker installs are. If you right click one of the old ones and then you click open in a new window, you'll get both of them open. Wow, Windows magic. I'm going to dock them on each side there. And so now I'm going to open the new one. So new one on the left, old one on the right. This is a really easy process for me. I can go resources on both sides. And then the ones we're looking at are definitions and extruders. That will fix that error. So if I open the definitions, I know I need the definition in my old one for the Anycubic predator. So if I go down to Anycubic and then I look for predator, it should be in here, unless I'm completely blind. I'm blind. Is this the old one? Yes. I might actually be missing it in this version too. I'm not sure if I even brought it forward. Let's see. Mama robot. Mem. No, I didn't even bring them forward in this version. So what I can do is I can download those from the web page and fix them. But I'm just going to drop the definition into the definition folder and then the extruder into the extruder folder. That's all I'm going for. But other than that, Cura looks the same. It feels the same. There are new material profiles. So the material profile is in the middle in Cura, just so you know. no test, but if I start feeling worse, I'll get one. Yeah, man. I hope it's the other way. I hope you start feeling better. Hey, Stig. So in a nutshell, I mean, that's the Cura change. It seems like a huge deal, but it is definitely not the hill to die on. They're to put it diplomatically, they are doing what a company needs to do and should do. Whoops. You guys don't need to see that. I bumped the camera. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, so Cura needs to make money just like every other company on the planet. And yeah, they are doing it in actually a very diplomatic way. I am impressed with how they've implemented the enterprise and the free accounts. It is very, very... It's akin to how AstroPrint handles their accounts. You get a few printers for free. Well, in Ultimaker's case, you get Cura for free. And if you wanted any of those premium features, then you got to kind of look at paying. So that is one thing. Now, the other thing. So that's the Cura burble. I want to show you guys something in Prusa Slicer. I'm just going to open it up here. And you might get a little bit hiccupy, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes the computer... yeah, Ben. So we were just looking, and they are charging. They're starting to charge. Now, the free version still exists as it has existed. So for 4.1, when you downloaded it, you're going to get all the features except they've added CAD support, so you can bring in your CAD files directly. But they have like a they have like a... I'm gonna pop it into chat so you can see here too. But their pricing structure is per printer, and it's rather steep. So it starts at $600, goes to $6,000 if you have 6 or more printers. But keep in mind that you can use the free one still. Let's see. Anyone who buys Ultimaker 3 pre after April 23rd, if you purchase a printer before. Yeah, so, and it looks like they're giving away essentials with the Ultimaker printers. So basically what we can sign up for. Yeah, that's the nutshell. So yeah, Stig, I mean, that's a good point. I kind of went through, but like they're not moving any or removing any features that would like be a deal breaker. Like object or per object settings are still there. You're getting better. Like any actual slicer improvements, like the flow rate visualizer and that stuff you get. But what you don't get is pretty well what enterprise users would need, like enterprise grade support for their broken printer, fleet management, that kind of stuff. And I don't think you get to use their nifty app either in Ultimaker. Now, one thing, Cura does it and Prusa does it, but I like showing it off in Prusa just because it's a little more clear. But like both Cura and Prusa have methods of managing settings that are actually in your firmware. So there's overrides that exist for, flow rate, acceleration, jerk, all of that stuff. In Cura, maybe I'll open Cura up again here too so we can just see it. But in Cura, those sections are, independent of stuff like heat and layer height and, everything that would just be a basic setting. And in Prusa Slicer, they are also separate, but I like the way Prusa Slicer shows them, but that doesn't mean one is like superior than the other. It just means they're different, and visualizing them is different. So I'm just going to transition here, guys. So here we are, and we are inside of Cura, obviously, right now, and we'll switch over to Prusa Slicer in a minute. BRB, your computer's going a little slow, Stig. Usually I have that problem when Greg joins the stream. My computer's going to catch fire. That's why it's running like 3 video cards. Okay, so inside of Cura, if you go into your travel section, there's certain settings here that are actually governed inside and outside of. Do I have them all showed? Whoa, let's see if we do. Settings, gear, show all. Speed. Yeah, okay. So sorry, it's in speed is what we're looking for. Yep. And you can see here that there is 2 overrides in Cura. So this is in the speed section in Cura, and those overrides say this: enable acceleration control and enable jerk control. Ben says apparently Chi2 Box Slicer is moving towards subscription model and possibly locking other slicers out of their printers. Oh, he had a thunderstorm. That'll do it too. Yeah, I heard that too, Ben. I think the best way to put it is things can't be democratized forever. I think Ultimaker and Prusa Slicer will have free versions going forward because they are still doing very good business with their printers, and they're able to offer premium services like their subscriptions now. So if they do that, there will be a hobby level free one. If they can't, so like Chi2 Box, Chi2's on the Predator. That's the word I'm looking for. Chi2's on the Predator. It's on a lot of those SLA printers. And like those are already, like when you look at the cost of an SLA printer, you can get them under like $200 easy, sometimes $100 now. And it's hard for them to make money on that. But here we go. So if you choose to enable acceleration control and jerk control, what this does is it writes into your firmware at the beginning of the print, and it overrides your firmware settings for jerk and acceleration. And if you take a quick peek at Prusa Slicer's version, so here we are in Prusa Slicer. We're going to go print settings, and we're going to have to change one thing here, but that's okay. We're going to change this from RepRap to Marlin because that's the default setting. And what happens here is it's very similar, but if you look at machine limits, and this is kind of like the default, it'll be set to Marlin here for an ender, and I go machine limits, and you can see here that it's giving it's changing the limitations of the feed rate, acceleration, jerk, and maximum or minimum feed rate, sorry, I should say. So what it's doing there, and both of them can do this, if you choose these options, when you slice this file, it will write the M92 and other applicable G codes to the beginning of your file to modify your printer and send the job. So that's kind of what brought about the title of the live stream here is your slicer working for you, or are you working for it? A lot of us and a good portion of us take a painstakingly amount of time to actually go and make our firmware, right? I mean, if we said, hey, how many people are making firmware in the group, I think almost all of us would raise our hands. And doing that, we have an understanding, or we try to have an understanding of the limitations of our printer, right? Do we have an Ender 3? Well, I can't put like 1500 millimeters as a jerk, or sorry, as an acceleration. It just won't work. And there's ways to get above and beyond the limitations, and you set those in your firmware as you go, including flow rate and that stuff. Hi, Greg. Everybody, Greg's here. So when you set those in your firmware and you've taken the time, you've taken your time and you've gone through and you make sure that your flow rate's perfect, right? You set your extrusion multipliers, everything gets set. Maybe you're like, maybe you're using like volumetric flow calculations already in your firmware. Well, why would you want to or need to then click these buttons in these slicers? And the answer is you don't. So that's to get much better using the phone. Yay! Welcome back, Stig. So to get a value, first off, that you like and you set it in your firmware is amazing, right? And we've tweaked our printers, some of us, for many, many years to figure out that this works best. And then you go and you get a slicer. And I'm not saying Cura, Prusa slicer, or Simplified 3D is a big offender of this too, but they do it on purpose. They're doing this, let's say, for the basic user. If you don't understand how to set your acceleration or calibrate your printer, well, these settings that the Ultimaker has from the community, or Simplified 3D has managed to get into there from their community, even though it's paid, and Prusa slicers put in, these settings will be a good base rate for somebody just opening their printer. They want to slice a benchy, they want to hit print, and if it doesn't turn out, they're going to get frustrated and sell it on Kijiji. That's who these settings and the spirit of those settings are for. Because what I would say, for 90% of my prints, I don't use those settings. In fact, you saw in Prusa Slicer, the way to shut that off is in the printer setting tab. You have to have the expert mode on. Everybody got to be an expert. But once you're in Prusa Slicer there and in the settings, you can legitimately just look on this page here. This is the printer settings with the expert on. And then you can change this from Marlin, and you can go to rep wrap. Now, the reason that works is because the move codes are very similar between Marlin and rep wrap. If you changed it from Marlin to Smoothie, some weird things might happen. Some of the G code is a little bit different between those sets. So, but making your slicer and tuning it just as much as you would tune your printer is just one of those things. And if you've got your printer in tune, for sure, come in here, select rep wrap, so it gets rid of that machine tab completely, right? If I were to, I'm just going to go into the configuration wizard. Wow, having issues with talking. I think I should probably do this. But I'm going to pick Prusa Mini, and what we're going to pick here is a 0.4. Actually, you know what? We're going to pick a Prusa, and we're going to pick a 0.4 MKS and the MKS3, and that's fine. We're just going to click next, and that will add it into our list of printers, and I'm going to click finish. So here is our default Prusa that we just added. Now I want to notice what's going to happen. See how it says Marlin here? Okay. And then there's a few extra check marks here. Supports stealth mode. Okay. And that's probably the most important one. And then the G-code thumbnails is actually pretty cool. Okay. That shows you the picture of the print on the screen. That one's pretty cool. But supports stealth mode and Marlin. Now you can see here when we go into the machine settings, yeah, we got a lot of settings that changed. So how does stealth mode, light speed, hey, what up, buddy? So how does stealth mode actually affect your printer? Well, from the look of it, you can actually see very little changes, but you can see they drop the feed rates, and then they also drop the acceleration values a bit for some of the axes, and then they also modified. Oh no, they changed that in this version. So they were modifying the acceleration when retracting at one point. But basically what they're doing in stealth mode is slowing it down. And slowing it down makes it quiet. Is that the new RC? No, this isn't the release candidate. This is still 2.3.1. I have the release candidate on my laptop. Yep. So, and you can see how to apply the limits, and it says emit them from the G code, used for time instruments, or ignore. So if you if you want to edit and keep stuff. But like in this Prusa setting right now, if you have a Prusa printer, this will work because Prusa printers can print what they call stealth mode or normal mode. Now, again, you can come back here and if we change that tab disappears, which means all the firmware changes are gone. If I go back to Marlin and then I just take away stealth mode, I just get one normal printing. And you can see that Prusa machines by default, y'all, have a lot slower values in here for some things than other printers. So like by default, Prusa Slicer is tuned a little bit slower, you know, like, which isn't bad, to really give a good print quality. So that's just kind of a short thing. If you have RepRap, those machine settings don't work well. Yeah, and it's really weird. If you have a Marlin machine, picking RepRap is fine, but on the Predator, I actually had to use Sprinter to get it to work properly. So it's a good thing to note that even though actual RepRap firmware is in the list, I find that the RepRap Sprinter works better on RepRap. But I guess your mileage may vary too, depending on what you're printing and how you're printing it. So I'm just going to remove that printer from my list now so I don't have a fake Prusa in there. Yeah, it's the law of averages. And I think I honestly think those settings in Prusa, the way they tune their slicer, are part of the reason why people accept the statement Prusa machines are the best machines and an Ender 3 or a clone or garbage. And maybe those are extreme. That's on the extreme size. But lots of people do say a Prusa print's better than an Ender 3. And I'll argue, well, okay, maybe. But once you tune in your Ender 3, they're comparable. And I think that's the difference. I'm about out of here not feeling all that great. Ben, go take care of yourself. And I hope you feel better soon, friend. I hope you feel better very soon. So, let us, I'm just going to do this really quick, y'all. I'm going to do this. Boom. Greg knows what this is. There it is. If you guys are Patreons of ours, thank you. We didn't get around to the Patreon live stream because of the power issues last week, but if you guys are interested and want to check it out, patreon.com/3dmakeit. There's a Discord and a bunch of stuff. There are going to be more project stuff after the summer. Like I said before, Greg and I are, well, Greg is already on vacation. That's why he's a ghost in the chat. And I'm just, after today, I am not going to be here either. So it will be a while. So I appreciate you guys following us on Patreon. Remember, like, subscribe, share, and also we do have a podcast, and I think we're gonna try to somehow muddle one together with Greg away and me away, and we'll try to get one out. But we are podcasting at 3D Maker Podcast, and then the other thing is all of our links, including our profiles, are all on our website. So you can go check us out at 3dmakeit.com. I feel as though I missed a lot of stuff. Lightspeed Murph, it was good. And I could go grab 10. We should do Murph recap next week. Okay. Lightspeed, can we do a Murph recap? Hold on. Can we do one on the 28th? Are you around on the 28th? Or the 21st? 21st. Can we do the 21st Lightspeed? Sometime in there. Sometime 19th to we'll even try to get Greg on somehow. But if we can do that week of the 19th, I'll be back from vacation. And then we can hook something up. Stick says, so I don't have to get up at 3 in the morning. No, you can sleep. Yeah, let's I'll get in touch with Greg to see what his situation is looking like internet wise, but if we shoot for that week of the 21st, yeah, that'll be the best. and then we could do like a Murph hangout thing. Greg, how is your internet, by the way? So yeah, thankfully we're out of that heat and stuff. Show. Whoops, I hit show. Sorry. I'll fix it. I'm fixing it right now. Nobody look. Okay. I'm gonna text this to Greg right now so I don't lose it. Yeah, we'll be in touch. Lightspeed, we'll be in touch. Yeah, the heat. Thankfully, that heat wave's over. That was crazy. I know lots of people that struggled. Apparently, they had like 25 people in BC die from the heat, which is, I mean, they're not used to heat, so air conditioning doesn't exist out there. So we touched a bit on the Cura thing, and we went through a little bit on getting your slicer working for you. Now, there is one more thing that I kind of want to talk about, and I'm gonna have to cut this one live stream a bit short because I got to be at the doctor at 4:10. So I'll have to run. Yeah, no, they don't do AC in Vancouver. I don't. Maybe they will now. I heard that there's going to be an influx, but the last thing I want to talk about is the hot end, the extruders. Now, we have like 4 or 5 installs done of them. I have my Creality kit one I printed, which it works actually really good. I'm impressed with it, the H2. And I have the Micro Swiss Direct Drive, and then Greg has like the Mod V plate from Printer Mods, the Hemera. The ones I specifically want to touch on are going to be the Hemera, the Orbiter, right, Greg? You got the Orbiter? Yep, you did. I don't even have to wait for that. I remembered. So I want to talk Hemera, I want to talk Orbiter, and I want to talk H2. H2 is the Big Tree Tech one that kind of looks like the Hemera. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics about installing them quite yet because that's what the other videos are for, but I do want to talk about an engineering flaw, maybe. We'll call it a flaw. Now, when you are printing filament, PLA, PETG, let's see, what ABS, the normal. Oh yeah, and you have an LGX, so I bet you the LGX will fall under this category. I'd have to look at it, but when you are printing a normal blend of filament, so nothing with too many crazy additives, or like it's a solid additive, like a carbon fiber, these extruders perform admirably, including for flexibles. Now, I'm gonna eat my flexible word in a second here, and I'm sure you'll understand why. So let's talk H2 for a second. Would I recommend that extruder? Yes. Yeah. It's a fine extruder. It can push filament fast. It does have some flaws in the way the retraction works, and you'll hear those on the video that I have for the H2. But specifically, when you are loading and unloading these direct drive modules, so the ones I've listed, especially the Hemera and the H2, they are an all-in-one engineered little tiny rectangle or square, and the Orbiter is relatively the same thing, except it's a circle and it goes past the 2 little Bowden gears, or not Bowden gears, Bondtech. But the gotcha is loading them is not hard. I haven't had a hard time or any issues really loading like the H2 or like my, can't think, the H2 or the Micro Swiss Direct Drive. In fact, I've never had an issue with that one. But when retracting filament, that is really the gotcha. So when you are printing like all the normal filaments, like I was mentioning, no problem. In, out, it's fine. If you're changing a filament that's been mixed or blended with an elastomer, so these could include silk filaments. They can include some of the flexible filaments, but basically the elastomer makes the silk filament shiny. And what happens is when you're pulling it out, the elastomer actually can stretch a bit, and it's a byproduct of the hot end being hot, and the elastomer actually has a little more friction against the tube. So whether it's a Bowden tube or like a bored out titanium, all metal, it has a little more friction. And what tends to happen, especially on the Hemera and the H2, is like the filament pulls and kind of breaks off just underneath the gears, between the gears and the hot throat. And sometimes you get really lucky and you can push the filament through. But like my biggest pet peeve, and like I don't know if you guys have, if you folk have printed a lot of stuff through like a Hemera, or even if you have an H2, but I printed, it had to be like 200 hours before I got mad enough to switch it, and it wasn't because of that issue either. I'll circle back on that statement, but when retracting that filament, I think I had to take the whole thing apart like 4 or 5 times, and it's an engineering flaw, but I don't see a quick way around it. Like you could take the whole heat sink off and drop it out the bottom. Maybe that's faster than actually like taking the 4 screws off the side and pulling it apart. But you have to be really careful when you take it apart, because those planetary gears are just in there just right. And yeah, if you accidentally have shaky hands, you might drop something, and then you're playing pickup. So I think that's kind of like one of the it's not like a factor not to buy it, because it is an outstanding extruder. Like both the Hemera and the H2 perform well. It's just one of those things that you're gonna have to get used to, right? It's like putting gas in your car. You gotta do it when the little light comes on or before. And with your printer, if you want the advantages of high torque and tight, so that you can print tight tolerances to print flexibles, then it's a good trade-off, but you have to be ready to clean them. Now the other ones that I've had, I just thinking here, I don't think I've had to unassemble them, except for me doing like when I had the H2, it bothered me, and this is circling back to that comment, because it wasn't in the middle of my ender, and yeah, my OCD was going nuts, and I didn't really want to lose X and Y build space. I was okay with Z, so I put on a Mosquito clone and a direct drive thing and a shroud I found from Thingiverse, and I'm very happy with all of those things. All of those words that I just said made me very happy, because it works fantastically. Now, cost-wise, the H2 and Hemera actually are a very similar cost because of the shipping on the H2. So the H2, just like in the shopping cart, is a lot cheaper than the Hemera. A lot. Because I haven't looked at Hemera in a while, but it was like $160 at one point. I'm not sure how much it is now. The H2 comes in much lower, sub $100, but once you pay that shipping, they get pretty darn close. But that being said, that's the nature of the internet. So the H2 was sent to us by Big Tree Tech. So thank you, Big Tree Tech and Hope, for sending that out. And it will be in the video as well, with some links and stuff to buy that. Now, the one thing with the H2 is it's not, Greg just typed it. It's not quite all metal, but it's the hot end has a PTFE tube between the extruder gears and the hot end. However, they did it looks like, when I took it apart, it looked like Capricorn, for one, the XS. So it's the dark blue Capricorn, and it's the one that's rated at like around 240 to 250 degrees without degrading. Now I printed some Petchy at 235, and then I took it all apart and it looked fine. So I'm fairly certain that it was genuine. So for the average printer, for the person printing PLA or TPUs, they're fine. That temperature is fine. If you're going to go up into carbon fiber, nylon, and some of the more exotic things, then you might want to consider upgrading an all metal hot end. Now, the funniest thing about this extruder, though, is they don't have an all metal hot end, but they do send you in the package. You get a high temperature thermistor and a high temperature, high wattage heater. So they give you almost everything you need to get to print hot, but just the one little, I think they sell them like dirt cheap too. I think last time I looked it was about $10 for the actual throat. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but that's kind of where we're at. So one more time, I want to thank all of our Patreons. Helge, thanks for being a tree support. I know we haven't seen Helge in a bit, and Stig, thanks for coming to. Thanks Vince and everybody else up there too, Dominic, and we got Jim, we got Ray. You guys are all awesome. Today everybody gets a shout out. I know changing the time has made it so that some of you guys can't come, or it's really, really early. But don't worry, when we get back to September, the 3D printing church shall resume operations in full-fledged. So thank you to all these guys on the screen. If you want to check us out, 3D Make It, and that's at Patreon. So remember, like, share, subscribe if you see anything you like. If you hate it, let us know, and we'll try to make it better. Let's see. Stick says, if you're going to use Capricorn 2 on AliExpress, Creality is the only certified reseller in Asia. Yep, it's very true. I usually buy my cap tube either straight from their cap website or at Spool 3D from our friend Raymond and Derek up in Calgary, because they have the real stuff. The other thing I will say too, and this is just like an addition on the cap tube thing, is get TL. For goodness sakes, buy cap tube TL if you're using it in a Bowden system. If you're not in a Bowden system and you're going direct drive, then use XS. The reason for that is all filament is not created equally with tolerances that are even within the 0.05 plus or minus range. Like some of them are a little bit bigger, and if you get the TL, it fits in the tube a little bit better because there's more tolerance, and it's still the TL tube has a inner diameter that is very, very good with flexibles. So that's my end rant on that. Now we are going to wrap it up because I got to get out the door here soon. But you guys, everybody in the chat and everybody that follows the channel and watches along, we want to send a huge thank you to all of you, Patreon or not. You guys are all awesome. Like I said, it's going to be probably a couple weeks till you see me. And hopefully we can get Greg in with the Lightspeed. But if that doesn't happen, it'll just be me and Lightspeed. From both Greg and I, we appreciate you all very, very much. Thanks for watching and joining us and asking questions and leaving great comments in all the videos. Expect to see us back on Wednesday on the 21st and in September. Other than that, summer vacation time. So thanks everyone, and you guys take care.